Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I have a lovely fire going today in South Africa. So for those of you who are concerned about me freezing to death, I'm not going to freeze to death right now. So any shivering that may occur during this reading is coming from a sugar overload. Because today, and I forgot, I've already shuffled. Today I'm going to do a reading suggested by one of my lovely viewers who asked me to read on the sugars. And I thought that was a very interesting question. So I'm using my trusty zombie tarot. I thought it very appropriate for the sugar apocalypse that we are witnessing. I'm going to be looking at the sugars. I'm going to be looking at what motivates them, how influential they are, their links with Meghan Markle, their links with Omid, and what is going to happen to the sugars when, inevitably, in my opinion, Meghan Markle suffers a terrible fall from grace, which she is already suffering to some extent. I can't resist shuffling. I'm going to just give it one more gentle shuffle. And things fall apart. Are the sugars going to fall apart? How will they cope when their idol falls? It's good feisty energy out there today after a few days of a real slump in the energy, so I thought it would be a good reading. Hopefully some fun, hopefully some truth from the cards. There's always truth from these cards, most of the time anyway. And set questions, 6 cards, 6 questions on the sugars. Let's see what the cards have to say. Put the cards into view better, and let's look at the bottom of the deck. Oh my. Gruesome cards, of course. Avert your gaze if you are squeamish, because at the bottom of the deck, the zombie tarot is the 10 of Swords. And that is a dreadful card. It really is, and I apologize for how graphic and gruesome it is. But 10 of Swords, as most of you know, is the card of downfall, ruined reputation, disaster, rock bottom. So, as I was saying, and I know I'm going to be giggling my way through this one. Well, we never know. There might be a rude surprise in here for me, but so far, not. 10 of Swords, rock bottom, ruin and desolation, the downfall that I was speaking of. So the cards are telling me, how dare I doubt them? Yes, we're reading on that subject today. So what is the current energy around the sugars, the current vibe? Oh dear, poor sugars, we're getting the world upside down, the world in the reverse. In this card, of course, the couple locked in embrace in their bunker as the world goes up in flames. It looks like that big giant meteor is heading their way. In the reverse, it has hit. The sugars' world is going up in flames. Quite literally, their world has been turned upside down. They thought that Meghan Markle was going to conquer the world. She was going to be the Queen of England. We were all going to bow down before her, but alas, this has not come to pass. And even though they have found freedom in Montecito, they were not invited to the Obama's birthday party, and even the sugars must have noticed that the Harkles are not striding the global stage as the sugars expected them to. So, alas. What motivates the sugars? What really wakes them up in the morning and sends them to their keyboards to spew their bile and their poison? The 2 of Cups in reverse. Very unhappy. They really are unhappy. The 2 of Cups is in reverse is, of course, the breakup card. The unhappy couple. In regular tarot, it's the loving couple, the partnership. But in the reverse, it is the breakup. The sugars are very bitter about the fact that Meghan was forced out, in their opinion. Meghan was forced out of the royal family by the cruel racist royals and the cruel racist British public. We all know how terrible they are. And poor Meghan was forced out, broke her heart, and she had to flee. So the sugars are, I think, acting upon their own sense of grievance and heartache, and I'm sure lots of them are very unhappy in their own selves and are taking to their keyboards to type their vitriol, motivated by their own heartache and their own sense of grievance and their own broken relationships and their own feeling of being kicked out of whatever happy relationship, happy, safe partnership they belonged in. And I'm being snarky, but there is genuine heartache here that the sugars are acting on and are feeling. So really, I can only say that the sugars possibly need some mental help, and perhaps possibly the chimpo could direct them in the right direction if he were even remotely concerned about their mental health. How influential are the sugars? We notice them, but do they have impact in the world? Not at all. The Four of Swords. The Four of Swords is, of course, defeat. It is taking to your quiet place, your sick bed, retiring from the world to nurse your wounds, heal your broken heart, rest and recuperate. And so no, the sugars are not having any influence in the world, and in fact possibly are at this moment retreating from their keyboards and going and lying on their beds in fetal positions to nurse their broken egos and their disappointment, deal with their disappointment at how things have gone so far for their idol, gone so horribly wrong, shall we say. So, what is their relationship with Meghan Markle? How close are they to her? Is she on the phone to them every day? What is the story? And again, I have to say that this is a tarot reading for entertainment purposes only, my opinion only. So let's see what the cards have to say. Oh my, Major Arcana, the Chariot. The Chariot is the whip cracker, the one who drives the unruly horde ahead and gets them to their destination. So most certainly, even though this hearse has crashed here and the coffin is shooting out the back and all the zombies have collapsed in the ground, this is the card of ambition, direction, direct action, sending them off, winding them up and sending them off. Quite literally, she's very directly involved, allegedly, of course, and most involved in sending out instructions and getting them to do her bidding. The Flying Monkeys. That's the Flying Monkeys card in the Zombie Tarot. What is their relationship with Omid Scobie? It's alleged that his Twitter account goes private every now and then while he gets on instructions from Montecito, which he then relays to the sugars. So, is Omid the go-between or... Oh, absolutely. I needn't finish that sentence. There he is, the Page of Swords, the messenger. Pages are messengers. Swords, of course, the written word, the spy. So Omid is out there. Madame herself, of course, doesn't have a public Twitter account. She most certainly, in my opinion, has many private accounts on social media, but Omid is the spy. Omid is the junior partner in this relationship. Meghan Markle is the Chariot, the Major Arcana, the driving force behind the Twitters, and Omid does the dirty work. Omid goes out and spies. He puts on a new disguise every day, new Twitter account, new whatever's on social media, and off he goes snooping around to see where he needs to direct the sugars. But this is where the energy is coming from, and this is the one that is doing the dirty work behind the scenes. Poor Omid. Even wearing his fancy little outfit, Omid does love to dress up in fancy little outfits. There he is, the Page of Swords. So now, the final and most telling question. This is a short read. You'll all be happy to hear that. how are the sugars going to cope when the inevitable happens and Meghan experiences her Ten of Swords, her downfall, and my throat immediately blocks up when I ask this question. Are they going to suffer from some kind of psychotic break? Are they going to need mental health assistance from Prince Harry and his better up or whatever he is chimpo of? Or are they going to sail on unscathed? Let us see what the tarot has to say. Seven of Cups. It's not a complete collapse. It's not nearly the Nine of Swords or the we've had the Ten of Swords, the Five of Cups, any of those kind of ruin and desolation cards. It's not death. It's not anything like that. But the Seven of Cups in this zombie tarot is a bit of a mental meltdown card, because there she is, turning slowly into a zombie, this poor lady, with all these heads spinning around above her head. The Seven of Cups is the options and possibilities card. It's the delusion card in the tarot. Very Neptunian energy. You fall for your own make-believe, your own fantasies, and it really is, they are utterly deluded, and they are going to be struggling to maintain their fantasy, their illusion about how the way things are when this happens. So not an immediate need for mental health assistance, but definitely working very hard to maintain that paradigm, maintain the illusion that they have worked so hard to build up and is going to come crashing down at some point. We'll have to look and see if we can figure out a timeline for the crashing down. I'll do that in the next few days. But sugars, definitely Ten of Swords, World in reverse, not happy. They themselves personally are not happy, and that is why they're at this. They don't have much influence. Four of Swords, they are certainly steered and directed by Meghan Markle in Montecito, in my opinion. Omid simply does the dirty work, the spying, the reconnaissance, the strategizing. It's the card of strategy as well. So every day I would say there's toing and froings between Montecito and wherever Omid has his little nest where he hides. And outcome for the sugars when it all goes south is a struggle, a mental struggle to maintain the illusion and not to have to face the harsh reality of what is really going on. So I hope you enjoyed that little reading, and I'll see you on the next one.